Hey, what's up? I'm Ashley. Thank you for watching this video. And today, we're going to be talking about True Detective Night Country Season 4, Episode 2. And let's get into it. It's December 21st, the 4th day of night, and we're back on the scene with these scientists stuck in this snow. And it is a wild scene. They're completely naked. Their eardrums are ruptured. Some of their corneas are burnt. It's possible they scratched their own eyes out. Some of them even bit off their own fingers. It's clear that the police on scene has never seen anything like this because they were out there acting a fool. They were messing around with the chainsaw, acting like they about to cut them up, just trying to be funny, out there taking pictures. Liz said, "Stop that. You better get professional out here." So they started dusting them off, and when they did that, that's when they find this symbol on this man's head. He was the only one out of this frozen bunch to have this spiral symbol on his head. And I'm wondering if it's because he's the founder and director of the research center. But why just him? Why does he get to get one and nobody else do? And why is he the only one alive? Is it because he has this spiral on his head? When they were dusting them off, his arm broke off and he started yelling. Everybody was shook because everybody's supposed to be dead. At least that's what they thought. Yeah, but nah, not him. He over there yelling. So of course they take this man to the hospital, but he's in an induced coma. He's gonna need surgery and they're gonna have to amputate at least one leg. So Liz can't question him to ask him what happened until he gets out of surgery, out of that induced coma, all that. But we're going to go back to the scene real quick because Navarro was watching from afar with Rose. Even though her and Liz went there together, she has to still watch from afar because, you know, Liz is not going to let her get close to nothing. She's a little hater. For whatever reason, we don't know why yet. She's clearly gone through something and she's taking it out on people. But Rose tells Navarro to just go home. But Navarro tells her that she knows that the frozen scientists are somehow connected to Annie. So Rose tells her, then you know that this case may have a similar outcome, which is unsolved, no answers, doing this for nothing. So Rose ends up leaving, but before she does, she invites Navarro back to her house later. So as Navarro is standing there, she looks down and she finds these clothes and shoes laid out neatly in the snow. So who did that? And who do they belong to? At the station, Liz's boss, Captain Connolly, comes in giving out orders. He's trying to take this case away from Liz. He wants it to go to Anchorage, but she said, no, you're not. But he wasn't trying to hear what she was saying because he still called a helicopter to come get the bodies. So that's when Liz pulled out the handbook. She said, look at this right here. She pointed out that the bodies cannot be moved until 48 hours has passed, and that's how you know that the bodies has been thawed out the proper way. So he was standing there looking stupid, and we found out that the two of them have history. They have been sleeping together for 19 years. She's had an affair, she cheated on her husband with him, and they swear that this time is going to be the last time, but they've been saying that. It's been going on for 19 years. So with needing a place for the bodies to thaw out, Liz goes to the ice rink and asks Kate, who owns the ice rink in the mines, if she can store the bodies there until they thaw out. And we've heard of Kate in last week's episode, and we know that she got into it with Navarro. We just don't know about what. But anyway, she's like, yeah, you can store them here. And the only reason why I'm letting you is because I love this town. So how much do you love it? Because what you be doing? What do you be doing for the town? Do you be killing people? It's important to point out that she called Hank Henry. Is that his middle name? Who was that? She asked him how Peter was doing and that he should coach her boys for some private skating lessons. And Henry/Hank tells her, I'll try to talk some sense into him. She's like, yeah, I'm counting on you to do that. Ain't nobody else in town? Peter got his hands full. Liz won't let him do nothing else but work on this case. He can't even go home to his kid or his girl. Hell no, he can't go nowhere. He can't teach your kids nothing. When the bodies arrive at the ice rink, Peter points out that it looks like the scientists may have been biting themselves and that there's 5 scientists there instead of the 8. Then Navarro comes to the scene and she shows Liz a paper with a spiral on it, and she tells her that this spiral is the same one Annie had tattooed on her and it's the same spiral that you found on that scientist's head. Liz was acting like she didn't care, like this wasn't important, but as soon as she left, Liz told Peter to look into it. What's wrong with Liz? Why can't she ever give Navarro her props? When Liz goes over there to give Peter more work to do, she sees that he found one of the scientist's phones and is able to get into it with the face screen lock. When they get the phone unlocked, they were able to see the video that we saw in last week's episode when that man was filming himself make a sandwich, and when he looked over there and saw Clark, we see the two of them in there trying to figure out this case. They got all the pictures laid out. They're asking each other all these questions and just trying to put two and two together. But we saw Liz take a visit to one of the schools to talk to one of the teachers named Bryce. And we find out that her and Bryce used to hook up. They had this sexual relationship, but Liz just calls it desperate times. But she's asking him to try to figure out what the scientists actually did and why did it take so long. Why were they working so hard and never left out of there? So he tells her they were in there trying to find a cure for cancer, autoimmune diseases, and genetic disorders. So that was going to take some time. So the scientists were in there putting in work. Then Liz and Peter go to question the supplier and cleaners at the research station. And one of the ladies, after seeing the symbol, said it was witchcraft and not a cult. It also came up that Annie was a midwife. I wonder for who. And while Peter was questioning the vending machine guy, he tells Peter that Clark used to run around here naked and he saw this same symbol tattooed on his chest. He also told Peter that yeah, he thought he saw something that night, but he didn't think too much of it because the people in this town, Ennis, always see dead people running around here, so I didn't think too much of it. That's crazy because I'm up out of there. The fact that everyone there is so used to seeing dead people walking around is wild, and I'm wondering what's up with that. So now Peter tells Liz he's gonna go home to be with his girl and his kid, and Liz said, no, you're not. You gonna get to work. And he listened to her like he always does, like a little punk. He gonna end up losing his girlfriend. So Peter's still at work, and Liz goes over to his house, and when she gets there, Kayla is there talking to Peter while Peter is telling her, I'm not coming home, I'm gonna stay at work. So now Kayla's mad looking at Liz walk through her door after she just told her man he can't come home. And on top of that, Liz comes into her house with an attitude when she sees her daughter Leah getting a tattoo that involves her heritage. Now, how are you going to get mad at something like that and it's not even permanent? I feel like maybe Liz knows that people who get this tattoo, something ends up happening to them, something. I feel like she has to have some kind of reason behind it, but who knows? She had Leah so upset, she ended up sneaking out of the house to go see her girlfriend, and Liz had to put up the Christmas decorations all by herself. That's what she gets. And while she's going through the Christmas boxes, she ends up finding this polar bear. Then we get this flashback, and it's her and her son Holden playing with this same polar bear. And as they're playing with this polar bear, we see her son covering up one eye. And we know that in last week's episode, this polar bear had one eye. So I'm thinking that maybe this is foreshadowing something, because at this moment, this polar bear looks like he has two eyes. So eventually, this polar bear will lose an eye. So something is going on with this polar bear. This polar bear must be the town killer. So then we also see her daughter Leah, after she snuck out, was talking to Peter. And she was telling Peter about how Liz and her dad used to have good times back in the day. And we get this flashback of them dancing. Also during this conversation, we find out that Peter's dad used to play the guitar. And Peter says he wants to be nothing like his dad. Maybe because his dad is abusive. Hank finds out that Peter lied to him about coming over to his house to get a picture to show his son when he was really in there getting Annie's case file. And we saw that in last week's episode. So he goes up to him and he punches him right in the face, talking about, don't you ever lie to me again. Why you take Annie's case file, blah, blah, blah. I'm your dad, don't you lie to me. How about shut up, get up out my face. Keep your hands to yourself and off me. Only reason why he knew that Annie's case file was missing is because he was looking for a picture to send to this lady that he's been texting after she asked him for one. And we can see that during this conversation that something is wrong with her mother. I wonder what it is. She's probably seeing dead people, since the whole town can see dead people, or maybe she's sick or something. But also, Hank has been sending her money. Is this a catfish? Liz is still looking into this case, and she called the person who gave Clark this tattoo, and she was just trying to find out if the person who gave him the tattoo knew the meaning of the tattoo, but she doesn't remember what the tattoo means, but she did say that she remembers Clark being emotional after getting the tattoo. Liz was also reading Clark's notes, and in the notes it said, "Oh God, never say her name. I can hear her calling. Cold, dark eyes." And we see a drawing of something that looks like cold, dark eyes. I wonder how long ago he wrote this. Was it before or after Annie died? But as she's going through these notes, she gets a call from Navarro to tell her to come over here and look at this. But before we get into that, we're going to move on to Navarro. Like I mentioned before, Rose told Navarro to leave the scene where the scientists were and just go home and come over to my house later. So that's what Navarro did. She went over to Rose's house. When she got over there, they started talking about just how long Rose has been speaking to and seeing Travis. Now remember, he's dead. He was the one we saw last week dancing around in the snow. But Rose tells Navarro that he only comes around when he wants something. But we find out Travis had leukemia, but he wanted to go out on his own terms. So he took his own life by going out into the snow. This is him, and this is probably how he went out there. No shoes, no jacket, just out there. Froze and died. But before he took his own life, she recalls their last moments together where they made homemade croissants. They had some music and some love making. Now, Rose's first time ever seeing the dead began with Travis. Travis was the first one she saw. She also told Navarro that some of the dead visit because they miss the living. Some visit to tell you something you need to hear, and some just want to take you with them. Then Navarro brings up her sister about how she acts sometimes, and Rose tells her, "Don't confuse the spirit world with mental illness." Before Navarro leaves, Rose brings a spiral that was found on the scientist's head. That's when Rose draws out the spiral and tells her that the symbol is older than the town and maybe even older than the ice. So at the bar, Navarro shows Ryan a picture of Clark, but Ryan's never seen him before. Now this guy named Chuck, who we never seen before, is mad that Navarro is bringing up Annie again. So since he was so mad, Navarro thought that was suspicious, so she goes to question him later on. While questioning him, she did find out that Clark did buy a trailer from his cousin for like $10,000, some ridiculous amount. He bought it in all cash, and it was a year before Annie's death. We get this scene where Navarro asked her sister to go to the lighthouse so she can get better and all that, but her sister starts to promise Navarro that she won't end up like their mother. She's not trying to go to nobody's lighthouse, but we're going to see how that works out for her. Then we had this other scene with Navarro while she was driving. Something always seems to happen while this girl is driving. So anyway, she's driving and the Spice Girls comes on. She starts singing. She gets excited, but then she drops her phone. And when she goes to pick it up, she ends up picking up this cross necklace. Then we get this flashback of what looks to be Navarro and her sister when they were kids. They look like they're afraid of their mom. Their mom is yelling, pointing her finger at them. But if you notice, their mom is wearing this cross. And after the flashback, we see Navarro throw the cross out the window. It seems as though she doesn't want anything to do with her mom. It's important to point out that Cabot lets Navarro know that there may be some protesting happening soon in the town because of something going on with the water. And then he says to Navarro, and I think that it could be foreshadowing. I don't know, because I hope it don't happen to him. I don't want to see it. He tells Navarro that his dog acts all hard and tough, but really is soft and nice and cuddly. She said, "One day, these dogs are gonna eat you." Why she say that? And why does she think that? That's nothing to joke about. So I feel like that maybe could happen. We see her go back later to Kavik's house, and she ends up scaring him while he's in the tub. When he gets out the tub, they're eating pancakes, and she mentions that Liz wants her on the case, and she can't believe that she missed the relationship between Annie and Clark, and she wonders how they were able to keep it a secret. And as she's talking it out, she realizes that that's the reason why he got the trailer and how they were able to keep it a secret. And her and Kavik figured out that the trailer was in the Nook. So Navarro goes off to the Nook, and that's where she finds the trailer. And that's where we get back to the part where Navarro calls up Liz and tells her to come over here and look at this. When they both get inside the trailer, it is a mess up in there. And they find animal bones on the table. They find Annie's phone, There's pictures everywhere. There's things hanging from the ceiling. And that same symbol is drawn on the ceiling. Then on the bed over there is a body, but not a real body. It's just made out of clothing. Look at that. Who took the time to do that? I don't know what kind of weird, freaky-ish was going on in that trailer, but I don't want no parts. It looked like something I don't want to be a part of. Bye. While they're in the trailer, Liz gets a call from Peter and tells her, come on over here and look at this. So when Navarro and Liz gets to the ice rink, that's when Peter points out to them that there's only 6 scientists here. It's supposed to be 8. We know 1 is at the hospital, so that's 7. So 1 is missing, and it's Clark. So where he at? Where he at? Navarro says that he's out there alive somewhere. So again, where he at? But y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode down in the comments. Let me know all your theories so we can talk about it. And if you haven't already and want to see more videos like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.